Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Why Ukraine live stream. It's been a little while coming to you from Ukraine. I think my last stream was Friday night, America time. And now it should be Tuesday night. So I did not have a vacation. Quite the contrary. No, I've been very, very, very busy. If you'd like to see what I've been working on, there you go. That's been my project for the last several days. These are coats and rain gear and camouflage gear. Hey, Mitch, thanks for joining. Give me just a second. I'm going to check and make sure that my stream is up and running where it's supposed to be. We shall see. Interesting. Where's my... there's my stream. Making sure I'm actually streaming. How you doing, Mitch? How are things? By the way, if this is the first time watching this stream, we have a small group here, but we have a lot of fun. I hope we do anyway. That's the idea. Anna, thank you for coming. Have you contacted me, Anna? Have you contacted me on Facebook? Are you the same? Because people have different profiles, and sometimes I lose track of. Facebook said I was on. Awesome. Oh, thank you for sharing that on the Tyrants Against Tyrants Discord. That's really cool. I really appreciate it. We have a lot of things to talk about, and if you're wondering what you're looking at on the screen right now, these are the coats that donors paid for, and actually some of my own money too going into this. These are being prepared to go to the International Legion for the Defense of Ukraine. And I have one more shop, one more secondhand store that they have their sale where they sell these just general secondhand clothes for 33 grivnas per kilogram, which is like literally less than $1 per kilo. So, and so, yeah, this is what we're doing. I'm gonna mail these all today, and they will probably get to the International Legion by Friday or Saturday, and be immediately distributed out to probably the troops who are going to the front line. That's what happened last time. This is the last group of soldiers who were going out to the front wearing wearing the coats that you paid for, and some of the pants, and like that sweatshirt that guy's wearing. I mean, I have... Oh, cool. Oh, Sally, you're here. It's amazing. YouTube is working now. It's fantastic. All right. Well, we do have news to talk about. Lots of interesting, important news, as you can see from my exorbitant number of tabs across the screen. I just want to emphasize that I don't know. I know that there's a lot of other news being reported. Maybe this should not be my leader right now. But the fact that Italy is sending guns to Russia and America is not really makes me angry. really, 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 like, and it's still happening, and it's happening pretty much like out in the open. Okay, so the situation is basically, if I understood correctly, Russia's had this partnership with Beretta and other Italian gun manufacturers, um, for for quite some time, and they set up these gray channels just before the beginning of the full scale invasion. Um, 5,900 rifles and pistols, 835,000 rounds of ammunition, which is, probably more more important. You know, well, I'm going to talk about ways that Europe is trying to kind of clamp down on these things. We'll get to that. They're mainly talking about like third countries. Finally, they're talking about third countries now because they weren't before. So that's a really important thing. I want to. I've been meaning to do this for a week now, and I want to talk about. I know you guys know who Greg Terry is. If you don't know who Greg Terry is, you should. Greg Terry Experience, highly recommend. But I want to let you know that there are lots of other NGOs, charities out there who are helping Ukraine, and this is one of them. Okay, and I interviewed this guy. Last year. Maybe, yes, it was definitely last year, I think. Maybe earlier. Yeah, last summer, I believe. And the thing is that, part of the problem. So he started out delivering field kitchens. So he started out delivering field kitchens to the front line. So like military field kitchens, that was his thing. And also just general military supplies. The problem is that a lot of those supplies have dried up. So now he is so a huge problem, and I know this, this is a sidebar to the war, but most of, or yeah, at least a large number of Ukrainian students have to go to school online. And so there's a real lack of ability to do that. If you don't have a laptop at home, and if your schools don't have enough laptops, so what he's doing is he's taking old laptops, as you can see here, taking these old laptops that really are too old to run a decent version of Windows on them, loading Linux on these laptops. And I've done this in schools in America too, particularly when I worked with Native American tribes. You take old computers, load them up with a version of Linux that doesn't hog the memory the way Windows does, and then most programs you can use, or at least some educational stuff, they can use it for Zoom and the basic things that they need to do for education, for schooling, online classes. And so they have they get these donations. This guy, obviously, it's called Norse Aid, and they get these from Norway. Mostly, they're mostly coming from Norway, but I think all over Europe, these laptops. Of course, the problem that they're having is they need they need guys to work on these things. Sometimes the laptops have to be repaired. They have to have Linux installed on them. They have to be maintained. They're going out to the schools. The schools maybe have like one computer guy at best. So I'm putting this out there. If any of you would like to volunteer in some way to help Ukraine's children, okay? If you are a Linux expert, if you know a thing or two about Linux, and you have a little bit of time on your hands, these guys can use some help. Now, obviously, you probably don't speak Ukrainian. If you do, that's fantastic. But regardless, a lot of the Ukrainians, say for instance, the Ukrainians who are doing the tech stuff at the schools, they'll speak English, and so they'll be like your smart hands. So we're looking for technicians, people who can do like remote support, essentially. That's what that's about. I'm putting it out there. I promised I would for my friend at this NGO, and he specifically asked me to bring this up. And hopefully I'll get to do an interview with him soon. Again, he, obviously we're all so busy doing the work that we do, So there it is. All right. I want to talk about some of the things that I put in my community tab. This is a reminder for me to talk about them. Not just getting the word out, and although in some cases. We all know now about Starlink and Elon Musk. By the way, I don't know if you can see you can't see what's happening here. Okay, I want you to know that this is not beer. This is coffee. But it just completely overloaded with foam all over my desk as we were talking here. The problem is I put this fizzy multivitamin in it, and now it's spilling all over my desk. Normal now. Okay. So anyway, if you see me drinking out of this, it is a beer mug, I suppose. But just to let you know, I'm not sitting here drinking beer on my live stream. I'm not JP. To be honest with you, I can't drink alcohol anymore. Oh, Catherine. Hello. Good morning. Cool. Yep. Yeah, I can no longer drink alcohol. I actually had a beer yesterday with my lunch, and I got a headache. Just went straight to headache. It's awful. I was like, oh yeah, maybe I could just have one beer with my lunch. Nope. Gave me a headache immediately. Anyway, so this whole issue with Starlink and Elon Musk's shitty excuses about how he very carefully worded his response. He's really being disingenuous, though. If you don't know, he basically said, no Starlink has been sold to Russians, and no Starlink is being operated on it, in the Russian Federation. And those are all true. Starlink coverage map Ukraine. Yeah. We can just take a look, right? So lots of maps showing the coverage, right? So the occupied territory is all this down here. You can see these areas of the occupied territories that are covered by Starlink. And this is where the Russian army is fighting and using these Starlinks. Now, it's a very simple thing. I understand why Starlink might want to allow the use of their systems in this area for Ukrainians. And it's a very simple thing to only allow accounts registered in Ukraine by Ukrainians, the very simple verification process to do that. And then you can have Starlink operable in these areas, but only by Ukrainians. So if you buy a Starlink from Dubai, it's not going to work in the occupied territories. As a network administrator, I can tell you that's an extremely simple thing to do. So Musk is being extraordinarily disingenuous. He's a liar. He's just a bold-faced liar, and he's complicit in war crimes and terrorism. All right. Oh, so Sally, you got the thank you for my network of supporters. You got the Tridents Against Tyrants Discord notification. Wow, thank you so much. So I want to talk about this Vlad Vexler video, and he's all about oh my gosh, come on, YouTube. Are you really serious right now? YouTube doesn't like that I have an ad blocker, so this is what they do. YouTube, on my other accounts, I don't have an ad blocker. So doesn't that ought to account for something, right? Yeah. So, lovely YouTube. Yes, you have an ad blocker, so we're gonna delay your video. Screw.
And they're a bit dangerous
All right.
to us.
Oh! Now I get there.
A conversation we need to.
Come on.
A growing chorus of voices now views Russia's breakup as not just inevitable but desirable. At the Forum for the Free Peoples of Russia in July 2020.
And watching this video, by the way, I think he makes good arguments.
Accompanied by a map of Russia fragmented into 13 new.
His argument is that this idea that let's see here. This idea that Russia is going to break up, or that Russia should break up into these independent states, as you can see in this map. He says that that's, a pipe dream, a fallacy, and not only should we not expect it, he gives good reasons, good arguments for that. We should not expect that to happen just magically. But Russia breaking up would not be a great idea, because you'll have like these warlords with nukes, all of this. So what he's saying here is that the conclusion he comes to at the end of the video, I mean, not to be a spoiler or anything, but the conclusion he comes to is that Russia needs federalization on the order of, in the similar sense of the EU, or maybe even India or the United States, as a looser association of states, not not a breakup of independent states, is really what he's saying here. And I mean, it's a good argument. He makes a good argument about that. I wish he had better visuals at the end of his video, but he doesn't. This is what he says, is that 90% of the arguments for the breakup of Russia are fashionable nonsense. So, okay. Here's the problem, even with that. Here's the problem with that argument, right? Russia is not even going to magically become a federal state. We could argue that Germany, for example, is a federal state. Germany itself, okay? How did Germany become that? Well, it had a history of that before, And then, for a brief period in the late 19th and early 20th century, until the end of World War II, one could argue that it became, this unified kingdom or fascist state. But the point is that it had to be forcibly federalized or re-federalized, we could say. That's the point. So the thing that he's talking about, the federalization of Russia into this sort of peaceful, coexistent, loose EU-style democracy, is not going to happen, will not happen, unless Russia is fully occupied by NATO. That's simple as. So I know he's talking about people talking about the breakup of Russia, that's a pipe dream. Well, I'm saying that his little pipe dream is a pipe dream. Okay? It's not going to happen. I would love that to happen. That's a beautiful, beautiful idea. But we need to be prepared. When I say we, I mean those of us in the West, and particularly NATO, need to be prepared for the collapse of the house of cards that is the Putin regime and the power, the vertical power. Because we know that all systems that are these rigid power structures, these systems collapse. That's what happens. Okay. And it will happen when probably when Putin dies. Hopefully soon. But there you are. I'm going to close up tabs as I go along, I think. But I do need to take a step back and go to my community tab. So the next thing that we have to talk about is, woohoo! The Ukraine aid bill was passed in the Senate. Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure the U.S. is a great argument for that right now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, oh, Cheryl, thanks for coming. Yeah, I'm a little sneaky. I'm like a YouTube ninja. Nobody knows I'm here. So here's the problem. I think everybody who's talking realistically about Ukraine aid passing the United States Congress and passing through the House has pretty much admitted that it's going to require the dethroning of Moscow MAGA Mike Johnson. He will, as a speaker, he will not let this through. It's very interesting. This bill passed the Senate, and he said, "Well, I won't accept it without border security, without a plan for border security." It's literally like a catch-22. I mean, he thinks he's fooling everyone, and he is fooling his own people. But I mean, ultimately, he has to be removed as speaker. So, what's that going to mean? Yeah, China is waiting. China's waiting for the right moment to do something. Probably invade Taiwan, but us showing weakness in Ukraine is, just makes China feel better. Makes China like, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. So here's the problem, right? If he gets removed as speaker, and that's a big if, and let's say that happens in the next couple of weeks. I don't believe it will. We're gonna have to go through this whole rigmarole again of finding a new speaker. Another month of delay just in that. I honestly don't think that Ukraine aid. I mean, I hope that I will be surprised by this. I don't think that the Ukraine aid will pass until after most of the primaries are finished. What's this special election in New York? Oh, is that the guy who stepped down? Oh my God! Hang on, I did see something about that. New York. Aha! George Santos. That's what that was about. I can't say George Santos without um without laughing. Uh, yeah, that surprises me not in the least. I mean, it's great, fantastic. Wow, a pretty wide percentage for this day and age. You know, that's great. Wow, man, you guys. I always come here with bad news, and I'm always doom and gloom, and you guys make me feel better. Thanks, Ronnie. That's fantastic. Great news. It's not enough to do the do, but um, here, just this is the theory that I'm putting out here is that there's a lot of Republicans in the House, a certain number of them who are up for election. They are afraid of being challenged in the primaries. And for those of you who are not American in here, well, I'll have to explain how it works, but I've got a lot of news to cover today. We have two sets of election. There's the party elections called the primaries, and then the general election. So the party elections are happening right now, and you can have someone else in your party run against you. And if the party, or for example, the person who's currently running the party, the great orange one here, if he doesn't like you, he could sponsor someone to run against you. We call it getting primaried. And now that he's basically installing his daughter-in-law to be co-chair, quote unquote, of the Republican National Committee, which is the organization that is in charge of primaries, essentially. He's basically, I mean, he's creating his own monarchy, his own. Yeah, this is how the Roman Republic fell. Okay, same way. Ugh. All right, let me close that. I will leave that. So I just don't think it's going to happen until spring, at least until the middle of spring, maybe even June. Before this, I do think that it will get passed, but I think we have a hard time. And then even once this aid bill gets passed, then it's going to take out some months for that money for the equipment to get sent. It's going to take another 3 or 4 months before that happens. We're talking September before Ukraine sees anything. Good job, Sally. It's catching up on high speed. Luckily, I speak very slowly, even after a cup of coffee. All right, let's move on. This is an older. This is from 5 days ago, but it wasn't reported on very much. Belarus, and this is just general news about Belarus. Okay, Belarus is actively preparing for an attempted coup. That's what's happening here, and I wish that Ukraine was excuse me, I wish that Ukraine was preparing for an active coup in Belarus, because it's what needs to happen. Okay, they have not, and I could scroll down to the article here. So Lukashenko waives responsibility of military for using firearms against civilians. This is just now happening. Okay, Ukraine appoints ambassador at large to Belarus to support the democratic opposition of Belarus. Up until now, Ukraine has not been taking the Belarus opposition seriously as a serious opposition to Lukashenko. Well, why is this important? Yeah, Cheryl, that's a good thought. Maybe Mike Johnson will give in after Super Tuesday, because that'll get most of the primaries out of the way. I mean, it's not really about MAGA Mike giving in. I think it's more about those congressmen who, and I would have to go and dive deep. Maybe I will do that if I have time tomorrow or something. It'll come down to those congressmen who are threatened by primaries, to have the majority of them, not be threatened by primaries anymore, and then they won't be too afraid to vote to remove Moscow Mike as speaker, and then the funding will move forward. I think that's the situation. But okay, so the point is that Belarus has been a amazing potential weak spot in this whole Russian house of cards for a long time, and Lukashenko knows it. It's why he is. It's why he's working with Russia. They're creating a joint list of extremist organizations and individuals. He's, unifying. It's why he's unifying his repression regime with the FSB. It's why Wagner, what's left of Wagner, has been training Belarusian troops. I really don't think that. It's possible that Belarus might invade Ukraine on some limited level. I don't think it's going to be very effective. If they do, they have a real chance at armed insurrection. So he's preparing for that possibility, maybe of a limited invasion from Belarus or by Belarus. So this is this right here, that Ukraine is beginning to work with the Belarusian opposition. This should have happened not 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Okay? But Ukraine didn't take them seriously for whatever reason, which is dumb. Like, I don't know, local, old rivalries, something like that. Whatever the reason is, Ukraine needs to be working actively. NATO, the CIA, whatever, needs to be working actively with the Belarusian opposition to attempt a coup in Belarus, and we need it soon, really soon, because this is the weak point in the house of cards for Russia. That and the oil depots in Vladivostok. Those are the two biggest weak points that nobody's talking about for Russia. Okay. Really, Cheryl, you heard Belarusian troops are already moved into Luhansk. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah. So, all right, let's move on here. Sorry, do my English translation. There we go. Oh, so Tony, you guys might remember that, I'm sure you remember, that we raised money to get Tony to Ukraine. He's a sniper. He served in the Ukrainian army last year. I know he doesn't. He said, I just took this screenshot off of one of our Zoom calls, and he had this from his phone, and he said, "You made me look like a retard." This is a direct quote. I'm sorry, Tony. He's not here right now, but I just took a random screenshot. Okay, we don't. The phone adds 10 years. That's what I'm gonna say. But he's a sniper, and he was very effective, and the Ukrainian army wants him back. One of the reasons why he's not here is that he is working night shifts to. I mean, we have given him money. I sent him the last of the money that we raised. And he has his hotel, his plane tickets, his train tickets all taken care of. It's all good to go. But I got to tell you, man, sending him that money was a huge pain in the ass, and I don't think I'm going to do it again until I figure out a better way. We did it eventually use PayPal. He couldn't remember his PayPal password or something like that. So we were trying to use Western Union, trying to use like the Cash app, any other thing. So I'm kind of, before I do that again with any other, and I've got another one of my fellow Legionnaires who is planning to come back, and I did offer to raise money for him, but this this issue here. So this is in Ukraine, a national bank studying the issue of limiting card transfers and limits for transfers through terminals. What they're trying to do is make more difficult the shadow economy in Ukraine. So in other words, they're trying to make it more difficult for people to be paid under the table, as we say. Okay. And God, it's I'm sorry, it's stupid to do that. It's stupid. Excuse me. At least, yeah. So she noted the problem of shadow payments is really relevant. So in other words, this is, people getting paid for their job, but not paying taxes on it. Okay. And at the same time, it affects a large number of companies that continue to use various mechanisms of evasion, reduction of taxation. Okay, fine. That's fine. Then deal with that problem at the level of the companies, not at the level of the poor consumer, the poor person who's just trying to get paid, who's just trying to make a living. You see, it's a dumb approach. Luckily, there's not a law being passed here, but I'm letting you know that there's Ukraine's working on. I mean, it is trying to solve corruption, but sometimes you shoot yourself in the foot by doing that. And is getting paid under the table corruption? I don't know. Okay, let's move on. Bessarabia. You guys ever heard of Bessarabia? This, if you've studied 18th and 19th century history, then there was a thing called the Bessarabian question, and the flat tax system is the biggest problem. That's exactly right. Fucking flat tax, And I I spend a lot of time teaching Ukrainians what progressive taxation is. Like they never even heard of it before. Mind blown. Okay. So cuz I don't know how long they've had a flat tax apparently for all of their existence or for a long time. And this idea that, when I show them that in the 1950s under a Republican administration, America had a top tax bracket of 93%, and at least 50% through most of the 1960s and 70s. And then I have to show them how progressive taxation works and the different tax brackets and things. And they're just like mind blown, by that. So anyway, yeah, kind of old name for Moldova. Yeah, you're exactly right. And the general territory around Moldova. But the current territory that is called Bessarabia now is kind of the rump of what was Bessarabia, which is this part of Ukraine that's down here. And if we go to like Google Maps, for example, assuming my computer won't blow up. My poor laptop. So, yeah, so we'll zoom out so you can kind of see here's Ukraine. All right. And yeah, so Moldova's right here. The region that is now called Bessarabia is this region right here. Now, this region is extraordinarily important right now because a large part of the grain that is going out from Ukraine is actually going out through ports down in the southern end of Bessarabia. So we have the Danube River here, and there are these little, back last year when Russia was almost nearly bombing NATO, this is where they were sending drones and missiles, and some of those drones actually landed in Romanian NATO territory. But these very much smaller ports than Odessa. But if Odessa really does get bombed again and attacked again, these will absolutely be vital. So, Bessarabia is actually a really big deal again. Cheryl, I'm not sure. I mean, it was occupied by the Ottomans for a really long time. It used to be part of the Byzantine Empire, so it has a pretty big mixture of people. So there are Russians who are settled there, Moldovans, obviously. These Gagals, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but this is a kind of a quasi-independent people. Within the Republic of Moldova, there is, there's Transnistria, which is this, Russian-controlled state since 1991. Russian-controlled state right between Moldova and Ukraine. It's part of Moldova, but anyway. But even within that, there are these separate people called these Gagals people who have their own quasi-independent state within Moldova as well. I don't know anything about their history. So they all speak Russian, and apparently, I did not know this. Apparently, before the war, they were pretty much pro-Russia. And now, what this article is all about is, it doesn't matter what they were before, they're not pro-Russia now. They're absolutely not. They're hating on Russia big time. Russia screwed the pooch, really, really screwed the pooch. So This is a really good thing because, as you can see, this, I know that Russia has been putting a big emphasis on Odessa and wanting to take Odessa, but this part of Ukraine, look at all these landing areas right here. Look at all these nice landing beaches. This would be very, very convenient for the Russians to land on if they were smart. Thank God they're not. So, I don't know. Just a little bit of good news. Yeah. So, no, I mean, Ukraine. This is part of Ukraine, to be sure, but it was a part of Ukraine that was pro-Russian. Just to be clear, and I think it's important to note that all of these people who were pro-Russian, even right up until February 24th, 2022, now they're like, screw that. So it's a good thing. All right, it's a good thing. I am looking for the I'm looking for the American version of this video. We're on to a new subject, guys. Sorry. Sometimes I change subjects without telling everybody. But so this is Voice of America, okay? And I can play the...
Justice.
So this is a video about an American Marine who died fighting for Ukraine. Okay. Oh yeah, Transnistria. Yeah. So this is, I need to find the English version of this video. Okay, really, really, really need to find that. I think it's great that they're doing this in Ukrainian. To show Ukrainians that yes, and if there's any Ukrainians watching this, definitely check out this. Here, I'll copy the link to this into our chat. Definitely check out this. Oh my God, that's a terrible link. I'm so sorry. Jesus Christ.
Отримав правову освіту в університеті Чикаго та працював міжнародним корпоративним юристом. А вже у липні 2023-го загинув як доброволець на Донеччині у віці 40 років у українську землю у складі 59-ї.
So this is to show Ukrainians that, hey, yeah, Americans are still supporting you, but we need to have videos like this shown in America on American TV. And the thing about it is, I think that the American media has been reluctant to show the fact that Americans are in fact fighting in Ukraine already. They've been afraid to show that because they think it would actually make people not support the war. Okay? I think that to the degree that the American media cares about Ukraine, they're thinking, oh, if we can't show that Americans are dying here because then that will really kill support for Ukraine. And no, I think the opposite is true. The opposite is true. We need to show the American people that we have literal skin in the game. So I was gone the Voice of America English website. I can't find this video. If any of you happen to find it or some related video to this, please let me know. Because here's the problem, right? This is the problem. Okay, these are the international fighters, the international Legion. Many of them are Americans, and who are they? Who are these guys? Now, some of them are covering their face because they come from a country where it's illegal for them to fight in another country, to join another military. Greetings from the rotting West. Hi, Max. But they're being encouraged by other soldiers and it's kind of taken as a given that if you show your face, oh, the Russians are going to come for your family in your home country, stuff like that. So that is so counterproductive. First of all, Russians can't do shit, okay, in our respective countries. Yeah, okay, there have been cases of calling your mom and saying that you're dead or whatever, which is horrible, and they dox people. Okay, they can dox me all they want. I'm out and about, yeah. So anyway, I want to just turn this thing around, and I want to make these people, especially Americans who are fighting in Ukraine, I want to show them as the heroes that they are, not this sort of like under the radar, who I fought in Ukraine. No. Heroes fighting for democracy for the world. Okay. Yeah, we know about this. Do I need to talk about this? That's a good question, Sally. I do not know. That's a very good question. Is the U.S. 101st Airborne still in Romania, somewhere near Ismail? That's a very good question. I don't know where they're stationed. I'll look that up. I don't even want to show the Great Orange One here, but here he is. I mean, here's the thing. He the damage is done. The damage is done. NATO will never be the same after that. Doesn't matter if Trump gets elected or not. NATO will never be the same after this. When I say our, I mean America's reputation in the world is permanently damaged forever. Forever. All countries in the world are going to, they're, even if for the next 40 years we have pro-NATO presidents and governments, Congresses and whatnot, who are helping our allies, which we don't, and it's very unlikely that we will. The rest of the world is always going to look back on this and say, can't trust America. Obviously Trump is to blame, okay? But the people who follow Trump are to blame. I blame George Bush, the second, W, as they say, okay? Because he's the one who did the big lie about WMDs, who convinced not just Republican voters, but lots of Democrats that there were, we had a good reason to invade Iraq. It turned out all to be a lie. Now, for some reason, these people now, now they're just believing another liar, but they're so full of mistrust. They just learned the wrong lessons. All right, enough. Oh, Ukraine hit another ship in the Black Sea. I hope you're right. Sounds awesome. Sure, Europe got another wake-up call. Maybe it's not all bad. Maybe, I think it's going to, we talked about before, it's going to be months and months and months before the U.S. funding comes through. I think it will. It's just how long before, I think it's going to be the summer. So, okay. Now this is something from back in November. All right. This is an article from November, but I heard about this over the weekend, and I wanted to check up and see if it was true. So, why is this important? Business will assist in building fortifications. Working group set up within Ukraine's defense ministry. And here's the thing. Ukraine's ministries of defense and digital transformation. Why? Have established an interagency working group to build military engineering and fortification structures. So essentially Ukraine's Surovikin line. So they're looking for businesses to sponsor the construction of 2 to 3 lines. Why the Ministry of Digital Transformation? Why? This is weird. Doesn't this seem weird? Why would the Ministry of Digital Transformation? The Ministry of Digital Transformation is in charge of like making sure that trying to get government systems, for example, to go from being paper records to online records. You know, something that occurred in America like 25, 30 years ago. Why would they be in charge of and basically the digital transformation is the ones that so Mikhailo Fedorov, okay. Why? I'm not sure why, but I heard about this and I was like, I have some theories, but they're not fully formed yet. Sounds dangerous. Okay. I think it's related to this. Yeah. So this is all about Starsky, and you know, everybody's worried about Starsky. I'm worried about Starsky. Is he the right guy? I want to just go through this. We can just talk about this article. He's saying, you know, Ukraine needs a fresh approach on the battlefield. You'll notice that Starsky is not proposing a fresh approach. He's just saying we need one. What that means is he doesn't have any ideas, essentially. Now, I'm not here just to talk shit about Starsky. I have done that a little bit, because I am concerned. I think a lot of people in Ukraine are concerned. Zelensky presses Commander Starsky for new plan to avoid. So he's like, hey, we need a plan. Give me a plan. I think that maybe the reason that this started back in November with this working group. So this is what I hear, what I understand from, you know, from soldiers and people here in Ukraine. The defense ministry, all of the generals, you know, these Soviet guys, they're stuck on one thing and they will not change. And digital transformation ministry, they're all about change. So I think what happened is the digital transformation, you know, Zelensky was like, come on, we got to do this. That's what I think. This is my theory. Yeah, the guy that ran the railways. Well, yeah, and then you know, so Zelensky is deliberately choosing the people. Yes, I agree. We need to take the drones further. Absolutely. And the digital transformation is a big part of that as well. I think Fedorov is going to be the next president of Ukraine. You know, I'm like 5 or 10 years or something, but very, very amazing, popular dude. Yeah, that's right, Ronnie. Digital transformation and the new drone force, you know, I think is heavily, you know, integrated with the digital transformation. Digital transformation is becoming Ukraine, essentially. Is what it seems like. But I also think that, okay, So this, I'm not the first person to put this out there. This is for better or for worse, and I actually think it's for better. This is Zelensky kind of, I wouldn't say taking control, but having more influence over the military. In terms of, I think when the war started, he didn't know jack shit about military anything, and he thought this war was going to be over in a year. Legitimately thought that, according to the most recent biography of the first year of the war. Now he's realizing it's not, and it's taken him a while to study and realize. I'm not saying that Zelensky is like the savior of Ukraine, although a lot of people will. I think he's saying, hey, I need to get the right people in there. I think that, let me just continue with these articles here. We talked about this last week, about it's not about Starsky, okay? It's ultimately not about Starsky. It's about all the people he's appointing underneath Starsky that I believe that Zaluzhny and maybe even Reznikov, because of their deep personal interconnections within the Ministry of Defense and the Army, they were not allowing the changes to take place that Zelensky wanted. That's what I think. And just out of personal protectiveness, And Zelensky was like, no, this stuff needs to change. This is totally my fantasy. Yeah, so Dennis Davydov was complaining about people being put in positions that didn't meet their qualifications. Cheryl, that's been a big problem in Ukraine long before, like, from Soviet times. But yeah, so we're going to go through some of these people that have been. So we've got Igor. I talked about this last week. A bunch of people who were appointed to. Zelensky's kind of taking over, appointing people not just at the top. Starsky is just the guy at the top. It's all of the guys underneath I've been talking about for a long time. And that's why I think this is a great, amazing, wonderful thing. And yeah, maybe Dennis is right. Maybe some of them are not, quote unquote, fully qualified. It's reasonable to ask those questions. But maybe Zelensky's like, okay, you can learn on the job. It's about, are you willing to learn? And are you capable of making changes? Are you capable of thinking outside the box? I think that's the direction he's going with this. Admittedly, it's copium. It's hopium. Okay? But, so he's appointed this guy, I don't know anything about him, Igor Plachuta. Okay, to the commander of the territorial defense. Then he's got Igor Skibiuk, commander. Oh, I think it's kind of funny. Yeah, new networking will need to evolve, Mitch. I've been talking about this almost every time, on every channel I can. I think that the fact that the commander of the Ukrainian Air Assault Forces is now named Igor Skybuuk. The Buk, of course, is an air defense system. I don't know. There's a subtle. I don't think he was chosen because of his name, but I think it's funny. We don't know anything about these guys, really. I mean, we can't. We can just hope that Zelensky is doing the right thing. But you know what? I hope that if Skybuuk doesn't work out, that he replaces that dude fast. Boom. Get him out of there. And there's a lot of people here in Ukraine saying, in the military saying, we don't like Starsky. Okay? A lot of people don't like Starsky. And, I just have questions. I'm like, I don't know. My first instinct is to not like him, but okay, whatever. I haven't looked at the stuff about Stevenson yet, guys. I'm really sorry, but I will. Okay? So, but this is, here he is. That's Starsky. in that circle right there. I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Ukraine was part of the USSR. But here he is marching through Moscow. Does he have the adaptability to be able to understand the Russian military, use his understanding against Russia, and adapt to the new changes, whatever new ideas. The new ideas, though, are not going to come from him. Yeah. Right. A lot of people are saying that Ukrainian meat grinder, Soviet-style butcher, and yeah. But here's the thing. Zelensky can fire him a lot easier than he could fire Zaluzhny. Zaluzhny was like everybody's grandpa, I mean, I look at Zaluzhny, I'm like, I still love him. I would give him a hug if I saw him right now, But Zelensky can fire Starsky, and everybody will be like, yeah! And then one of these other guys can step in. And if that guy doesn't work out, then somebody else can step in. Okay? Here we go. The Zelensky appoints new Joint Forces commander. So this is the guy who's in charge of all the cannabis in Ukraine. No, sorry. that was a joke. Okay. I'm sorry. Right. So this is my hope. This is what I hope is happening. This is what I want to believe is happening. Okay, please understand this. You know what? They did it in World War II. I mean, maybe not with the top commander very often, but the mid-level generals absolutely rotated out. I mean, the U.S. Army changed generals faster than I change my underwear. Once a month, whether I need it or not. Okay. Man, where's the Russian trolls here when I need them? Okay. So, yeah, you were talking about who was talking about networking, needing to network and stuff. I know, Cheryl. I know. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke. Okay. Yeah. So border guards destroy enemy communication antenna disguised in forest. Yeah, we're probably not going to see a picture. Oh, maybe we will. Yeah. Let's see. Right. So, yeah. So there's an antenna mounted on a tree. Basically, it's a tower in the middle of the forest. I'm telling you. So as a cellular communications installer, okay, it's very easy to just disguise an antenna as a tree, or even mount an antenna in a tree, depending on the kind of signal you're using. If you're using Wi-Fi like 2.4 or 5.7 gigahertz Wi-Fi, then you don't want to put it in the forest, because the water in the tree leaves, or needles in this case, will block the signal. But lots of other types of signals, 900 megahertz range, certain microwave ranges, can pass through water and will propagate directly through this forest. This is a back channel communications system. So in other words, this what you're looking at here. Wait a minute. Let's see. Come on. Yeah. Right there. So this antenna is pointed backwards. So the Russian line is to the left of the screen, and that's the direction that looks like. Yeah, that's the direction that the antenna is pointed. And then you can see there's another Yagi antenna that's pointed down there. So this is probably 25 kilometers, at least, maybe maybe as much as 30, 40 miles this antenna could be. And then it's got some omni antennas below that, so it's sending out communications in a wide range all around with the back channel. Anyway, so this is the kind of thing that Ukraine needs to be installing all over the front line in a mobile on mobile towers even. So in other words, I've personally proposed to the Ukrainian army to use, and nobody listens to me, obviously, right? But whatever. To use, Ukraine has a lot of these. They're called marshrutkas. Marshrut. Okay, these are the little mini buses. They're all over Ukraine. They're usually like super, super old. Ukraine has thousands of these in storage that are just almost falling apart and barely can't even be used. Good question, Ronnie. Wait, let me, where am I going? Come on. Yeah. Electronic warfare, it is extremely difficult to jam this, okay? Extremely difficult. Because the signal is so focused, it has about a 15-degree angle on that Yagi antenna. So you've got the Yagi is sending a signal, and the dish antenna is receiving the signal coming back. Most likely. That Yagi antenna, it's almost like a laser. Okay, so it's very, very strong in one direction, and that's extremely difficult to block. Maybe okay if you're regularly using your dude wipes. Oh man. Yeah. So that one of the things when I do join the military, this is something that I hope to be in charge of or be on the front lines doing, is installing systems like this, because I've installed hundreds of these systems in America in extremely remote locations. I've even been shot at while doing it. Native Americans on Native American tribal land, because they're like, oh, look at that white guy. Pew! Yeah. No shit. Yeah, extremely difficult for electronic warfare. Now, electronic warfare might be able to jam the omni signal, okay, to a degree, but better to take out the source, take it out at the source. And incidentally, I don't have pictures of it, but I did read that Ukrainian snipers are actually taking out these. I saw some article, maybe it was a video, about a woman who was specialized in like going around taking out these communications towers with her gun, with a sniper gun, which is not an easy thing to do, I can tell you. Thank you, Anna. Thanks for coming. Yeah. I'm sorry I started late today. I understand if you guys got to hit the sack. Did I wear armor? I often brought my armor with me. No, but we would hear it like ping, like off of the metal, the tower structure. You could hear the bullets go ping, pew, pew. Yeah, I don't think they were really trying to kill us, but they just wanted to let us know that they were, just saying hello. It didn't happen all the time, just a few times. Anyway, and I mean, they'd be so far off in the desert, you would have no idea where they were. It wasn't like where it was coming from. The echo effect across the canyons and things, you'd have no way of. I think we figured out one time we saw them like way out on the horizon, and we waved to them. We were like, "Hey, please stop shooting us." Anyway, yeah. Okay, so on the issue of the electronic warfare, I suppose we have this, right? And I think I heard it reported in the news as the French have dubbed it portal combat, like a web portal, which is a like a website that you anyway. It's kind of dumb, but I'm like, yeah, like you're just discovering this now. These things have been working since 2016. Tons and tons and tons of them, Good night, Anna. Yeah, I mean, it's like the problem is in many cases the damage is already done. Now, what they're saying here about these networks is that these web portals is that stupid paywall is that they're kind of waiting. They're sitting there. They're reserved. So somebody's reserved these web pages, and they're going to be used in whatever the next misinformation campaign Moscow decides to do. So it's good that but the problem is Russia's just going to take these, as soon as they take them down, they'll just put up more. It's super easy to get a web domain, and trying to take them all down is like spitting on a fish. So it's more about educating the public. That's the big problem, and people going out on the internet, and not well. Hang on, Fry meme internet. Let's see if I can just find the meme. There's a great meme. All right. Well, you guys know the Fry meme, I'm sure. I hope you do. But the question is, we're not sure in America. The question is, are Americans really that stupid, or is it just that more stupid people are getting on the internet? Right? That's the question. Right? Because people get on the internet, they have no critical thinking skills, they have no ability to discern what's truth and what's not, and they think shit on 4chan is the God's honest truth because the preacher in their church told them about it. Yeah. It was arrows, Anna. I just saw that. I can definitely say it was not arrows. To be honest with you, I would have been more afraid of arrows because it would have meant they were a lot closer and probably more accurate, to be honest. Okay. There's some things I want to talk about, but I'll get to it. Okay, Forbes. I hate when you do this to me. All right, screw Forbes. It's about Avdiivka. Do we need to talk about Avdiivka? Let's talk about Avdiivka. Let's go to Deep State. Okay, this is the thing that everybody's talking about. So it's just, back and forth and back and forth. Here's Avdiivka. It's bad. It's, it's a matter of time. We knew this. The question is Starsky sending in reinforcements from the Ukrainian side? The word is yes. To make it just last a little longer. Avdiivka was a town of like 2,000 people, max, probably less than that. How many tens of thousands of Russian soldiers have died trying to take a city, a town of 2,000? And I mean, if you count all the way back to 2014, because look at how close this was to the line. Yeah, I actually have an article about that. I have friends in the 3rd Assault Brigade, and I am I'm concerned about it. I hope that they're just trying to make this last a little bit longer. I honestly think all they want to do is stop Russia from completely taking Avdiivka until after the Russian elections, just to prevent Moscow from getting that extra little, to prevent Putler from getting that extra little boost, the rah-rah boost from his people saying, "Oh, we took Avdiivka," town of 2,000. Ridiculous. Is this a Starsky the Butcher situation? Well, was he wrong about Bakhmut? I mean, I personally, when I was in training in the army, I spoke with a lot of those guys coming out of Bakhmut, and saw that my training center was adjacent to the recovery center for Bakhmut veterans, and I saw the injuries they had and the PTSD they had. But hang on, my beer is overflowing. Sorry, not beer. I wish. I really wish. But the argument must be made that Bakhmut crushed. Oh my God. Okay. My God, it's a huge mess all in front of me. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to talk about something serious, and you guys are just laughing. Okay. Yeah. It is, Cheryl. It's to rotate troops, facilitate a fighting retreat. That's exactly what it is. And they're trying to make it... I have an explosive on my desk today. To not have our guys captured, to save... Yeah. Musk is a traitor. Flo, yeah, welcome, Flo. Thanks for coming, by the way. I'm so glad to see you here. It's okay, Max. I'm just giving you guys shit. We have to find a place to laugh sometimes, okay? And if you can't laugh about this, well, I don't know. Let's laugh in the face of death. That's what I do. Yeah, so we've heard all about that. This is what's happening in Avdiivka, is that they're sending in the third assault brigade, and we are going to lose Avdiivka, but ultimately Russia has already lost, because in the same thing, Bakhmut. Yes, we lost Bakhmut. Where the hell is Bakhmut? Damn it, it's right here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, we lost Bakhmut, but what did Russia lose? I mean, we lost Bakhmut, but we crushed Wagner. Okay. And something like 75,000 Russians died, at least, to take this city. So, as far as I'm concerned, Ukraine has already won. Now it's just a matter of dragging that last little bit out as long as you possibly can. The main thing that I hope that Ukraine learns from this is the second. Where did Avdiivka break? At what point did the break start to happen? It was right here. When Russia found this tunnel, and who knows where the tunnel probably comes out, somewhere over here, and they got behind Ukrainian lines. Yeah, Sally, I like to say I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing near you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is where it happened. Now, this is the second time that Russia has done this, with using tunnels, pre-existing tunnels, to get behind Ukrainian lines. Where else did they do it? Well, they did it in Soledar. There are these big salt mines around Soledar, and if you want to know where Bakhmut really began to fall, it's when the Russians took Soledar. Okay, it was a huge loss of area when the Russians took Soledar, and they did it by finding the tunnels, finding the mines, going through the mines, and getting behind the Ukrainian lines. I hope that this is the last time that happens. I hope that under Starsky or whoever's commanding, I can't remember who's commanding the ground forces now, that this becomes part of their protocol. Check for the damn tunnels. Get a map of all the freaking tunnels in the city. And make sure you have those blocked off or booby-trapped or something. A sewer tunnel. Yeah, in this case, it was a sewer tunnel. In the other case, it was a mine. Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, Musk is full-on, Dr. Evil at this point. Give me a second here. I'm going to close up some of my tabs so that my computer doesn't freak out and die. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on from Avdiivka. EU takes first step to use Russian assets for Ukraine. 2 years. And EU is taking the first step. So they're talking about taking the profits from Russia's frozen assets in Euroclear. 300 billion euros of money. They're talking about the profits from that, which is something along the lines of like $4 or $5 billion. So it's not a huge amount of money. Okay. Yeah. So they say 300 billion euros, but what the amount that they're actually talking about taking off the top of that is 5 billion or something along those lines. Just the profits from it. Okay. First step. Oh, okay. Here we go. So the EU estimates some 15 billion euros in such profits could be carved out for Ukraine over the next 4 years. Woo! Too little and too late. Too late. Why? It's so frustrating to me. And the same thing with this. We've got all these goddamn Russian yachts sitting in America, in the EU. These should be completely confiscated already and given to Ukraine as the new free Ukrainian Navy. That's what should have happened a year and a half ago at the latest. And now we're talking about this. The U.S. is spending money that should be going to Ukraine. Yeah, the money will come after the war. Sure. But the point is, we have to get to that. First we have to win the war. Yeah, so already talked about that. Here, the U.S. Senate has it's nobody's approved anything here. Just a panel in the U.S. Senate for seizing Russian assets. Okay. And directing them to Ukraine's reconstruction, not to Ukraine's defense, to Ukraine's reconstruction. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to build. Just like last stream I talked about the French. I think the French have a contract to rebuild the city of the center of Odessa. So what are you going to do? You're going to rebuild it, and then the Russians are going to bomb it again, and then they'll rebuild it again. It's stupid with a capital stew. Misplaced priorities. Now, Taiwan is learning. Taiwan is learning from Ukraine fast, right? Taiwan must adopt hellscape drone plan against China. This is, if anybody wants to say that Ukraine is not contributing to the defense of democracy, okay, going back to the yachts. Okay, I understand. Oh, it's property law and this and that. Fuck all that now. Fuck all that now. This is literally World War III, guys. That we're trying to stop from completely happening. Just pass some laws to make it happen. Okay. All right. King Raccoon. I'm so glad to see you. Oh man, you missed. We had such a great live stream last time and you weren't here. We talked all about history for like an hour. Damn. Well, I'm glad you're back anyway. Thanks for coming. Go back and watch the previous live stream. Okay. So look, Taiwan's like going, hey, guess what we could do? We can have a bunch of sea babies and all. So the Chinese invasion force, what are they going to do, man? Literally, this is, they could do this without U.S. help. As far as I'm concerned, and I've said this before, and I know this is hopium, total hopium, but I think that this is my fantasy theory, when Xi came to San Francisco and met with Biden, I think Biden made a deal. He said, you know what? We're not going to let you have Taiwan, but we will let you have your former territories of Manchuria that are now occupied by Russia. And if you just wait for the right time, we'll let you know. And then you can... Oh, yeah. King Raccoon, please tell us about the 3D printers. I know you've been talking about it, and you talked to me about it, and I don't have any leads on companies that need 3D printers right now, unfortunately. I contacted a couple of schools, drone schools, that are manufacturing drones as well. And they said, no, we've actually got 3D printers. I do have one school that needs a 3D printer, but it's not, they're not necessarily going to be using it to manufacture a lot of drones the way they should. Oh. Why? You hurt your wrists? What'd you do? Okay. You hurt your wrist 6 months ago and have done nothing since. Okay. About 3D printers? Oh, it's okay. It's no big deal. I actually, there's a lot of suggestions right now that what the small drone manufacturers need in Ukraine is not 3D printers anymore, but rather plastic injection stuff. Plastic injection, mold injection stuff, because it's just 3D printers is pretty much just for prototyping, and a lot of the prototyping has been done, and now it's just a matter of just churning them out, just like Taiwan is going to do with these sea babies, and stop. Anyway, this is how all of the money coming from the United States for Taiwan and defense of Taiwan and all of that. It's great, but ultimately, Ukraine has been the biggest help to Taiwan, I would argue. That's my argument. I'm sticking to it. So I think, based on the things that my my guys out in the field are telling me, and like what Greg Terry's saying, I'm going to add stretchers. I've been talking about this. I'm going to add stretchers. I'm looking at this particular stretcher that's available here in Ukraine, and I'm going to add this to the Why Ukraine site. I see that a lot of people have bought tourniquets. Thank you very, very much. I think we've got about 10, maybe 15 tourniquets that people have ordered. The thing is, in order to go and pick up those tourniquets, like in the 1st Battalion, they have to send somebody off the front line, and basically a full day to go and pick this stuff up and bring it back to the front line. Every soldier carries, or wants to carry about 8, should carry at a minimum 8 tourniquets. So that means 1 tourniquet for each arm, each leg, and then 4 extra tourniquets for your buddy or your partner. In other words, to put on other people. So you have tourniquets for yourself and you have tourniquets for other people. So 8 tourniquets per soldier. So they're not going to send somebody off the front line to pick up 10 tourniquets, which is enough for like 1, maybe 2 soldiers. So once I get up to, like last time I sent 36 tourniquets. So once I get up to that level, then I will send them off and buy them in bulk. And 50 tourniquets would be a nice number, would be a good number. But I'm also going to add stretchers. I have a whole list of things that I'm going to add to the site that I've been talking about for a while. I want to add metal detectors, like the ones that Greg Terry is providing. Where the hell is my list? Oh yeah, metal detectors, stretchers, baby wipes. I don't even have baby wipes. Oh my God, I have so much work to do. Okay, we'll keep on going. I was talking to my students yesterday about why this crazy crap is happening. When am I going back to the Legion? Oh, is that what your comment was about, King Raccoon? You were talking about me. So are you just here to talk shit? Is that what it is? Are you just a troll now? I'm wondering. I mean, when are you going to join the Legion, dude? I mean, if you were paying attention, which I know you're not, clearly, but if you're paying attention, you can see here, check out any of my short videos where I'm training and doing physical therapy. So, yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit sensitive about that. Yeah, I'm angry every single day. Angry that I'm not there. Because, yeah, I'm sorry, you hit a nerve, King Raccoon. I apologize. I'm angry every single day that I'm not there. My friends are out there or going out there, putting their lives on the line, and I'm not there for them. I'm trying to be there for them in the way that I can, doing this stuff and doing these live streams. And, when I'm going back to the Legion is when I can safely do 4 pull-ups. That's the standard that I was told that I have to do. Okay. Simple as that. So I'm working out every single day to try and get to that point. Every single day, 2 hours a day. You know, I have 1 day off a week doing all these different exercises. And I have to be very, very careful. If I lift too much weight, like if I try to, I can hang from my body weight like this. But when I try to actually do a full pull-up, it puts too much strain on my wrist. So I'm just taking it day by day. And yeah, if you want to know the reason that I've been, pretty pissed off and depressed lately, that's a big part of it. Because I wanted to be back in the Legion by my birthday. And I'm not, clearly. So that's the situation. Yeah. Anyway, we have a lot of other news to talk about. But, there's this stupidity. But I think the gym opens in an hour. It takes me about 30 minutes to get there walking. So there you are. Forgive me for getting angry about it, This is fucked. And apparently this kid was killed by a 15-year-old, quote-unquote, German-Turkish student. And he was killed strictly because he was Ukrainian. It's wild. To me, I was in Germany for more than a month, like almost 2 months. And yeah, I called you out, dude. What are you going to do about it, man? All right. I don't know. Sometimes we're going to have a conflict. It happens. I'm glad we're all on the same side. And I believe you're on my side, which is Ukraine's side, King Raccoon. So it's a legitimate question. It's a question I ask every day. Just know that I'm asking myself that question every day. So I don't believe that a 15-year-old German-Turkish student was like some kind of a Russian agent. But apparently, according to what I've read, and I'm not sure if it's in this article, but they got into an argument with other teenagers at a train station in Dusseldorf. Okay. And the players were stabbed because of their nationality. Like, I never felt unsafe. I didn't live in Dusseldorf, but I lived in Essen, which is pretty close. I never felt like unsafe there. I never thought the idea of like 15-year-olds walking around stabbing people would never have occurred. That's something I would expect in America, of course. I've seen it in America personally, but not in Germany, and certainly not for someone being just for someone being a Ukrainian. So what's happening with, like, I understand that Germany has like about 10% or less of the population is Turkish, but what's happening in that the Turkish minority in Germany, that 15 Okay. Goodbye, King Raccoon. Dude. Yeah. Please don't come back. Sorry. I mean, you just... At this point, man, you're just trolling. Okay? You're just trolling. So, I... Help Ukraine in whatever way you can. Have a nice day. Tell people about my Facebook page. Okay. It's linked on the YouTube site. People can click on it. You can go right here. You go to About. There it is. The Facebook page. Why Ukraine? No, I've not read about William Stevenson. Well, you could stop using all caps, King Raccoon. That's one thing you could do. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, there's got to be something going on in the Turkish minority in Germany. Okay, that this would happen is what I'm saying. So does this indicate that the Turkish minority within Germany is now like anti-Ukraine and has been sort of, taken over by Russian propaganda? That's the question that I have, really. These are things that nobody's talking about, but so I was getting to this here about America and why I was talking with some of my Ukrainian students about why America is crazy like it is right now and not supporting Ukraine. And I had to tell them about Fox News and about Rush Limbaugh and talk radio in America, and how there's basically one radio station, AM radio, in the United States that covers, 90% of the country and controls 90% of the radios of the radio coverage in the country. And the example that I used for them, let's see here. Yeah. Example I used for them is this. All right. So this is a map of America showing how the orange sections and the red sections have equal population, right? This area in the middle of the United States and in pretty much all rural areas, you have terrible, terrible internet and very few choices even for FM radio. Basically, if you're driving around out here in your pickup truck between your farms or going to Walmart 2 hours, all you've got to listen to is basically like one radio station, maybe two. And one of them is like gospel radio, and the other one is political talk, hardcore right-wing political talk radio. And this conspiracy, let's call it a conspiracy, started in the 1990s with corporate takeover of communications in the United States. And the monopolization by basically one company, Clear Channel, that took over communications across radio stations all over the United States. And the same thing with local television stations. And those are owned by a small number of extreme right-wing people. And so they control the debate, they control the discourse. Even if you could be the leftiest communist freaking lefty, but if all you have to listen to for hours and hours and hours driving across the middle of the United States, if all you have to listen to is Rush Limbaugh or someone like him, eventually, and I've had this experience where I had to work in an office where they played Rush Limbaugh all day long. And eventually you start saying, yeah, I think he's right, you know? And I was describing this to my Ukrainian students, and they said, wow, that sounds a lot like Russia. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Yeah, Russia was a big, Rush Limbaugh was a big problem. But now it's, there's a whole slew. You got Tucker Carlson and just, following the same map. I mean, where did Pyotr get the idea of what he's done with the Russian state media? It came from America, arguably. So, this is a systemic problem in the United States, and we're not going to solve it tomorrow. All we can do is fight against it. And my proposal is, what beats talk radio? What beats talk radio is when you know somebody personally. That's good. I'm glad this. It looks though there was a ship. Bye, King Raccoon. Goodbye. Please leave. Sorry. Please support Ukraine on other channels. Thank you. Man, makes me nervous wreck. Good God. Yeah. What Sally is saying, you can still get FM NPR stations, but it's, they're limited in their range. AM stations, it's just the nature of the way radio propagates, and nobody wants to play music or, the sound quality on AM radio sucks. So it's perfect for talk radio, which has a limited range, basically. My brother once tried to torture me by putting a TV on in every room with Rush Limbaugh. God, yeah. He should be in The Hague now. King Raccoon, I didn't call you anything. I asked you to leave. You said bye. Thank you for coming. Don't make me kick you out. Okay? Please. Okay. So I think this is important to talk about. Unfortunately, I think Catherine is not here, but if you're Australian, remember all those helicopters that Australia was supposedly burying in the desert? Guess what? They're not actually in the desert. They're sitting here in a warehouse. Now, we can debate, and the Australian military is saying, well, they're in a lot of disrepair and whatever. You can't tell me that you can't take all of these helicopters and put together a few good ones and give them to Ukraine. Like, why isn't Australia doing that? Really. It's a real question. It's a real question. Yeah, see, wow. King Raccoon, you really are just a troll, man. Yeah, they do. They have it's not big technical problems. It's that they're some, what does it say here? The only real issue, the only real issue in reassembling is that many components would have exceeded They're calendar-based maintenance intervals. That's the issue. That's the issue right there. Yeah, Luke, the F-18s, like Australia has a bunch of F-18s that should go, but unfortunately, Ukraine kind of screwed the pooch on that because some lower level guy in the Ukrainian Air Force said, quote, "We don't want your flying trash," when Australia offered these F-18s. The real problem was Australia wanted Ukraine to fill out a bunch of paperwork, and Ukrainians didn't want to do that. That's ultimately what it comes down to. Okay, yeah, I understand that they've stripped some of them out and sold them for parts, and that's here too. But I'm saying that out of all of these, you can't tell me that you couldn't put a few good ones together. It's just about how much. Yeah, sorry, Sarah. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. It really sucks. Yeah, so you can't tell me that they couldn't put together a few good helicopters out of all these helicopters that are sitting here. They've got to be something, you know? I mean, that's what Russia's doing with their tanks, right? So they're taking all the old tanks, the tanks that have been stripped out, and they are refurbishing them. Yeah. Some could have still been pieced together. Exactly. They just, they just don't want to. Russia's doing it, 100 tanks a month, taking their old tanks and, piecing together new tanks. And the same thing with their artillery, Yeah. So more news. All right. I think we're coming to the end, guys. I have a lot more things to talk about. But once again, I think that we're going on 2 hours, getting close to, and so maybe I'll save these for another day. Estonia's prime minister on the wanted list. Why? Because she's taking down Russian or Soviet statues, and they want to arrest her for that. Russia's looking for a casus belli. Okay? And this will be part of their casus belli. All it takes is for Trump to get elected. I think that if Trump gets elected, Russia will invade the Baltic countries. That's my prediction. Yeah. That is Cheryl. That's true. They were decommissioned for being unsafe because they had a crash, a couple of crashes, maybe. Because they had exceeded their maintenance life and yada yada. But there's unsafe and then there's a war zone. So, I mean, if they could, yeah, like I said, if they could put together a few out of those, however many they have here, that looks like a lot. There's probably not all of them in this picture. Yeah. So this is my prediction, right? That if Trump gets elected, Russia will invade the Baltics. And yeah. There you go. Yeah. So guys, I'm gonna call it here. I hope I didn't mean to end on a bad note, but what can I say? Literally what I'm gonna go and do this morning there's one last secondhand shop that opens up at 8:30, I believe. And they go, everything goes on sale. I'm going to go there and buy, and I don't even know if the amount of stuff that I'm buying for the military is equal to the amount that you guys have contributed. I haven't had a chance to do the math on that. I did have a picture. Oh yeah. This is the current state of gear that I'm going to basically pack all this up and literally mail it today to the Legion for the guys, because it needs to get out as soon, winter is here, man, and they need this stuff now. So this is going to be the last of the stuff that I'm going to pick up today, and then I'm going to immediately go mail it. So if you feel like contributing anything to the work that I'm doing here, the two biggest, most important things right now is this. I'm going to take, after today, I'm going to take down both of these items, the secondhand rain gear and secondhand military gear, because I'm leaving this part of Ukraine and I'm not going to have access to that stuff anymore. So this is the last time. Luke, like a lot of people have 3D printers specifically in Kyiv right now, and are doing exactly that. I just happen to, I mean, I understand that that's a great idea, but I don't have that as my goal. My goal is not to start a drone manufacturing business. My goal is to join the Legion and maybe, if they want me to, work with drones in that way. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I need to stop the Manchurian Candidate. It looks like your couch. Wait, do you have a giant pile of coats on your couch, Sarah? or do you have snake skin on your couch? Wait. Yeah. So that's something I'm trying to find, and I haven't been able to find so far, is a tech company that's manufacturing drones. There's a lot of them. I know they're out there. But I can only do one thing at a time, guys. Unfortunately, this is what I've been focused on. After today, I'm not going to be focused on this. And after today, I think I'm only going to be drop shipping stuff. In other words, I will, like these tourniquets, they don't come to me. I order them from the company website, and they go directly to the soldiers, to the closest post office to them, basically. So I'm just doing this here because I have the opportunity based on where I am. So what I'm going to say is if you want to contribute for right now, those are the two biggest things. And I'm going to take these down. The rain gear is going to go away, and the military gear. And yeah, so thank you all for coming. Yeah, no, I'm gonna add drones to this as well, but understand that drones are like big items. So just for example, this is the, oh my gosh, this is the drone that I'm gonna add, I think, to, but look, that's 29,000 grivnas, okay? And so how much is that? UAH to USD. 29,000. So that's, $755, which is a really great price. Okay. But am I the best? You guys, what do I have? Like 20 people coming to my yeah, Sarah, we had a big debate about when I'm able to go back. It's when I'm able to do 4 pull-ups without re-injuring my wrist. That's it. How the other half is holding up? Thanks for asking, Sarah. Not so great. She does not want me to go back, and she's trying to do everything in her power to stop me from doing that. But there we are. Anyway, so yeah. Thanks, Sally. I mean, I'm making progress. The weight that I can lift is going up and up. The number of reps I can do is going up and up. I was pretty depressed about it over the weekend, and then I came back after one day of rest, and I was able to lift an extra 5 or 10 kilograms. So that's a big deal, and do more reps besides. But the purchases like this, I don't really have a large enough community, I feel like. I mean, but I'm going to put it up on the website, and I hope that you guys will contribute to it. But I wanted to make sure that I could do this right with the small stuff first. $20, $5 for a pair of socks, roughly. $1 buys like a shirt or a sweater or a pair of pants. If I can do that, then I know that, I want to get this right, and then I'll move on to the big stuff, okay? So, anyway, thanks, Sally. Yeah. Freedom isn't free. That's exactly right. Well, guys, thank you very much for coming to my live stream today. Is she getting to me to open a lot of jars? Yeah. 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 I'm trying not to take one step back. That's the thing. Fair enough, Sarah. I don't know what's going to happen with that, to be honest with you, because I do have a lot of resentment about it, to be honest. So, well, guys, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sticking it out with me. Thanks for having faith. So, Slava Ukraine.